You're listening to the West Ham is Why We Drink podcast. Like hanging at the pub with your West Ham mates. On this episode, we say goodbye to the FA Cup in What Was That with our special guest, Tom Clark from Football London. And we discuss your social media posts in Social Shenanigans. Now let's join the crew of the podcast, who have a special announcement at the end of this episode. And welcome to episode 54 of the West Ham is Why We Drink podcast. Did you have an interesting Valentine's Day, Mr. Dropsy?
Oh, yeah, I sure did. And talking of Dropsy, do you remember the last episode? Remember talking about my friend who was starting for the US national team?
I do. Yeah, Jesus, right?
See how well he did?
Yeah, didn't he score in the number 9 position?
He scored 2 and set up 3 goals.
Bloody hell, well done, Jesus.
I mean, he was only playing against Trinidad and Tobago, but even so, like, it's a US national team. It's an international game.
Oh, it's nice.
And yeah, I think that for FC Dallas, we might be seeing him in a slightly different position this season.
Oh, that would be good to see. It would be good to see. And that was our little introduction of FC Dallas is Why We Drink.
Well, I mean, sorry, I'm warming up, with my Dropsy name. I've been at the gym every day this week.
I noticed. I've been following you on social media, and how are you feeling?
Pretty good.
I'm glad to hear it.
It's nice. It's nice and private. I get to go to the Dude Perfect headquarters to work out.
See,
my friends,
You'll start ringing a bell now whenever you drop a bloody name, mate. Never mind when you say you're dead.
Yeah, I mean, well, maybe you could drop some names that people have heard of from the past 10 years.
Well, you know what? That's not quite my style because my names are so much bigger than yours that people wouldn't believe it. So,
well, anyway, the difference is your names were 50 years ago. People don't know who they are anymore. I'm the old you. Like, your heyday is gone.
Next episode, I will make a point of dropping a very good name, and I'll actually see if I can get in touch with them. So, how does that sound?
Oh, so that's good. So for once, you're going to try and get us a voice recording, a message, maybe get this famous person on the phone. Yeah, that's a good challenge, Wayne.
Don't put words in my mouth, Frank.
No, good idea. I'm excited. So next week, you heard it here first. Episode 55 next week, Wayne is going to get a top guest. Because you know what crap I got the last time I tried to get a guest.
I got a top guest who we've got coming in again today, so don't you even worry about that.
Whoa!
One up for me here. Hey, the snow. Have you been out in the snow, the pathetic snow we got here in Texas? Snow's a big deal here in Texas. It's like if we have like a dusting of it, everyone posts photographs of it.
Yeah, no. I spent 2 years in Minnesota, and so I never want to see snow again for the rest of my life.
Me neither.
I don't like it.
It's crazy because I was thinking about, I was looking like through my social media posts, and this time last year I went to see Disney on Ice.
Oh.
It was a bit disappointing. It was just an old bloke in a freezer.
That was good. That was good. Did you write that down somewhere, or did you just come up with that?
No, I wrote it down, mate. I don't come up with anything. I script everything, mate. Script and edit everything. That's how I sound good. I know my flaws. Oh, my gosh. Good God.
Amazing.
So before we get to our guests, maybe we should... It's been a while since we did our last podcast, so I apologise for that. But we do have a major announcement later on in this episode, don't we? So people should stick around for that.
Oh, I thought the major announcement was you getting a world-class guest for next week.
Well, then that's 2 major announcements. That's going to be a major announcement next week, you plonker. So, but we should run over real quick because it was a long time ago. We both got Fulham's score line completely bloody wrong, didn't we?
Yeah, we didn't do our best job of predicting that game. So,
what was it you said?
4-0, I think, again.
Yeah, and I said 3-0. Actually, I think you said 3-0 and I said 4-0. First of all, you said we were going to lose 1-0.
Well, that was closer.
It was. It was a very lackluster match, wasn't it? It really was.
Yeah.
So let's not say anything more about that. I guess we should really just go straight on to what was that. Does that sound good, mate?
Yeah, that does sound good.
What was that? Yeah, hello, thank you, mate.
Well done, mate. I know pressing the record button, it can be a bit difficult.
It's tough.
Glad you managed it, because that would have been awkward. Anyway, and we're back with the best guest that we've had on the show so far, Tom. Welcome back, Tom Clark. How are you?
Cheers, guys. Yeah, lovely to be back. All good, thank you.
Yeah, I want to jump in there and just say what great feedback we got from our fans and our listeners out there. They loved hearing all of the inner workings of being a reporter for sports, and we really appreciate you putting in this little appearance as a repeat for us. It's really good of you, mate.
Oh, no problem. Glad that people enjoyed it.
I learned a lot. I really enjoyed it. But let's get into the game. Obviously, we did all predict for the Man United game that it was going to go the distance. And so I think we called it pretty well, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean, it was really close. And it was, I mean, Craig Dawson had a chance right at the end. It would have been pretty much the last touch of the game with the header, and it just skimmed off his head. And it wasn't a particularly pretty watch, but I could understand the game plan, and had that header gone in, then you would have said it works absolutely to perfection. But it was, frustrating in the end.
Yeah, it's funny because I was on social media a lot afterwards. Did you notice that there was a lot of whining from our fans on social media? I mean, I thought we put a decent performance in, considering. And like you said, if Craig Dawson's head had connected just a little bit better, it might have been a totally different story. But I was just a little bit disappointed at the disappointment from the fans, the whining about it. It seemed like straight away they were jumping on the Moyes is useless bus.
Yeah, there did seem to be quite a bit of negativity around it. And I think it was around the selection and the tactics. Yeah. And I mean, you can say, well, why didn't West Ham go for it a bit more and open up a bit more? But then Man United have players to pick them off if you do go too open. But then we're recording this on Sunday evening, and Man United have just been held to a 1-1 draw with West Brom, who West Brom had the chances to win it. So you look at it like that, you think, well, West Brom went for it and they got a draw and could have got a win. But actually on Friday, David Moyes did point out that in normal times he would, of course, have got the replay and had Man United back at the London Stadium, which he's quite correct. But he would, but he knew going into the game that it goes to extra time and penalties, and he was extremely disappointed not to have at least got to the penalty shootout, which I think kind of shows the mindset he had going into the game, that they were really aiming, maybe not aiming for penalties, but aiming to keep it extremely tight and nick a goal from a set piece, which is the two best chances. I mean, obviously Craig Dawson's was the best chance, but the one actually where Issa Diop got injured, he almost got his head on the ball, and instead he headed Anthony Martial's head instead. But that was another chance. But again, that was a corner in the first half, and the first half was pretty dire, and that was West Ham's only chance in that first half. And there were a lot of changes made at half time, and formation changes, and needed to be, because that first 45 minutes is the worst I've seen since covering them.
Yeah, well, it looks like your lucky streak has finally ended over the last couple of matches.
Yeah, absolutely. Honeymoon period's over.
I mean, like you said, we did have our chances in that game. Unfortunately, there's a lot of negatives. There were injuries. I believe, and this is kind of a guess, but I would think that we must have set the new record for most substitutions to ever happen in a competitive English match. Do you think that's probably correct, Tom?
It would have to be up there, because, of course, the 5 subs did happen at the end of last season. But then with Issa Diop's concussion sub, I'm just trying to wrap my brain. I think
it
they
made
did
it 11
subs, and him doing the 6. So yeah, you might very well be right on that one.
There you go. You're welcome. You can put that in as a little... too late now. The game's already gone. But I'm sure a record was made.
Well, it looks like there needs to be a little bit of adjustment as well to this concussion sub as well, because a lot of people are saying, was it really a concussion sub? I don't know. It's for me, quite frankly, once we lost the match, I was like, okay, I'm done with this. I really don't want to talk about it any longer. What about your top shelf, Tom? If you had to pick somebody from that match, who would you consider as a top shelf for West Ham?
Well, Fabianski, he was superb. That save in the first half, and we talk about West Ham having chances, but that save, because it was gone. It's completely gone from me. Which it's Lindelof. Lindelof had the header, and it came off Dawson's back or his bum or a part of him. And there was a replay from behind the goal that you see that Fabianski does take like an inch of a step to his right before it hits Dawson. And it was that little step that he was off balance and how he got across to that. And I don't think there was enough, because they ended up losing, I don't think there was enough praise given to him for that, because it was an absolutely fantastic save. And he, just in general, he also saved a one-on-one with Marcus Rashford, who you would have put money on to score. I mean, we were all in the press box assuming when he got that when that ball came across to him, that everyone's there ready to type 1-0 to Man United, and then Fabianski pulls out that save. So he was absolutely superb, and he's he's 34, 35, out of contract in the summer. I think it's just a matter of time until he gets a new contract. But he was superb.
Yeah, I tell you, it was definitely squeaky bum time for me when that situation occurred. What about you, Adam? Who's your top shelf, mate?
Well, now I'm thinking hard because I don't want to copy Tom and say...
I am, so don't worry about
it. I'm going to say Coufal, mainly because, he was asked to play it for the majority of that game in a position that is not his position at all. Obviously that first half we lined up with 4 at the back with Coufal in his normal position, but at half time Fredericks came on. He was a little more central, and I think that it just showed adaptation. Although he didn't really do, I wouldn't say that he was great as far as standing out. He was pretty solid I think he was solid. So I'll give it to him.
Yeah, well, I am going to copy Tom, because I thought that myself anyway, watching the match, that he did have a couple of decent saves. And like you said, Tom, if we had won that match, I think more people might have pointed it out. So he was definitely my top shelf, a nice, very old whiskey, I would say.
What about your dregs, Wayne?
Dregs, that's an interesting one, because I'm not actually having any problems with this at all. For me, quite frankly, I think it has to be Yarmolenko. I just didn't think he performed. I think we're really missing having any striker. Let's be quite frank here, but I don't think he did much. And that injury, I don't know. I've never been a major Yarmolenko fan, and I've always been annoyed at all of the fans saying, "Give him a chance, give him a chance, give him a chance." And to me, he didn't cut it for me. So it was Yarmo for me.
Well, I think I'm going to have to, and as much as I feel bad to do it, I have to give it to Odubeko. I mean, I'm glad he got a chance, but the fact is, he came on, with nearly an hour gone.
Did he come on? I mean, seriously, yeah, that's a good point. Did he come on?
I mean,
bless him.
And, he's against Manchester United, so he's feeding on scraps. The game wasn't really suited to him, but, he's used to play for Man United. So let's see if he's got the hunger. Let's see if he can create something. He couldn't, and ultimately Moyes felt that actually he'd be the best player to be carted off nearer to the end. So, I really do hope that he gets another chance. I do want to say, in his credit, Twitter after the game, he was incredibly humble, incredibly thankful for the opportunity, and looked like he knew that there was hard work ahead. So, credit to him for coming out with that.
So, Tom, what do you think, mate? Come on, put us both to shame here.
Well, I think you've both been a little bit harsh on those two boys, because I think they just didn't have the ball. Yarmolenko in the first half when he played, he was the team was so deep, and there was about 30 meters between him and anybody else in the team, and he's not a hold-up player. He's not a striker, for one, so I don't think he should be expected to have long balls hammered at him, to chest them down, hold defenders off. That's what Mikel Antonio is very good at. I mean, he's good at a lot of things, but that's something he's very good at because of his size and his strength, and he would have been able to do that job. And that, I mean, he did. Don't get me wrong, he didn't play well, Yarmolenko, but he wasn't. I don't think he was given much of a chance. And for me, Po, it was a similar kind of thing. There was so little for him to play off. I mean, you can say, he needs to come on and create something, but when you're not getting much of the ball, and one thing that you get when you're there is you can hear how much the coaching staff talk to players, and they could see he was struggling, so they kept on calling out to him to get him to move wider. They wanted him to play in between Lindelof and Alex Telles, who was the left back who was getting forward, and that was one thing I think he could have improved on because he didn't. He was standing in between Lindelof and Maguire for most of the time, and he was never going to win anything against them. And like you say, Adam, he certainly learned a few things that day. So actually, for me, I don't think he was dreadful the entire game, but there was one point in particular where Pablo Fornals, and he had what could have been West Ham's best chance. There was a 3-on-2.
Yes.
He carried the ball about 50 yards up the pitch, and then he just played. He had two choices, and from where I was sitting, I thought he should have gone to the right anyway. But a little part of me thinks that maybe he didn't because that was the youngster Meepo there, and on his left. I can't remember who it was to his left, but I think maybe part of him thought if he goes to his left, he's going to a more experienced player. And he just he took so long on the ball that he just played it straight to Lindelof. And
I think it was Ben Rama to his left, wasn't it?
Yeah, he had two options. Well, he had three options. He could have carried on his own. He had a guy on his right, a guy on his left, and he just played it straight to the defender. And there's a still picture of it, and it looks so bad. And it's one moment out of, he played the whole game. It's one moment out of 120 minutes, but it was pretty awful. When you don't have many attacks, you got to make them count.
Yeah, it's funny. Our mate Kelly actually texted me after the match, and he said his wine bar player of the week was Fornals just because of that. He said that he just made a major gaffe there. It was tough. It was really tough. I'm going to take this opportunity to have a quick break for a word from our partners, ComeOnYouIrons.com.
For West Ham fans everywhere, this is the ultimate football app for you. For match highlights, interviews, and the best West Ham videos and podcasts. Download the free COY Irons app now from the App Store and Google Play.
So, Tom, how was the hospitality up there at Old Trafford?
So it's a bit different because of the COVID situation in the fact that there's apologies.
Oh, you okay? You're still alive, aren't you? There's somebody There's somebody from Man U that's there behind him smacking him with a brick. It's a bit different because of COVID that there's no, this sounds like such a minor complaint, but there's no food or anything provided because we are in there for a long time. And so normally there would be just, whether it's some sandwiches or some soup or something available. So the only complaint that there isn't any of that. So we bring a packed lunch or a packed dinner or whatever, which is all fine. You just bring your sandwiches, but it was freezing. It was so cold, and just a nice bowl of soup or something wouldn't have gone amiss. There was lovely hot chocolate on offer at Old Trafford, whereas at the London Stadium we get tea, coffee or Bovril, and I do like a Bovril, so that's not a complaint either. But at Old Trafford, they turned the machines off during the game, so at half-time you can't pop out and get a hot drink. And at full time, they ran out of cups. And luckily, I'm a little bit of an eco warrior, so I always have my tumbler with me, so I could fill up. But the rest of the press box was sat there moaning that they couldn't get a cup of tea or a cup of hot chocolate at half time or after the game because they were all after one-use plastic cups that they're just going to throw straight away. So I felt very smug for two reasons when I got that. Not only am I helping the environment, I'm also getting a drink, and nobody else was. Bloody Northerners, honest to goodness, it's what you'd expect. Hey, listen, for everybody over here in the States that listen to the podcast, why don't you describe to them what Bovril is?
Oh yeah, good point.
Yeah, so it's like drinking gravy, isn't it, or beef stuff? It's a beef-based drink, which I think to everybody who hasn't had it as a child or going to football, it must sound so weird, and it is weird, and it's absolutely lovely. And I have one tumbler in particular, which basically I can only use for Bovril, because it doesn't matter how much you wash it, you just never get that smell out. So if you put a cup of tea in there, it still tastes a little bit of beef afterwards. But it's absolutely, for me anyways, as a kid, we used to go to the football and you'd have a pie and Bovril, and it was like the Bovril was basically your gravy. So what, if you have a pie at home, you might have pie and mash, and you might put a bit of gravy on your pie. So what's the difference to having to drinking your gravy?
Yeah, for me, it was the smell of football.
Yeah,
really
absolutely. I mean, if I go with friends now, we might have a couple of pints or something. But over here in England, you can't drink you can if you can go to the same stadium and watch rugby and have a drink, but you can't go to the stadium and watch football and have a drink in your seat, a beer or something. So you might have a couple of beers before the game and at half time. But in the second half, you just sit there warming up with your Bovril. Lovely stuff.
And Americans might not know that, but in England, the law is that you're not allowed to consume alcohol within a view of the playing field. So even when you're in hospitality and you're up in a box where they're serving you alcohol, really the blinds are supposed to be closed. No one from the field, you're not allowed officially to be able to see the field and consume alcohol. So just so you know, because that obviously is not a thing in America. So
hip flasks, that's all I have to say, hip flasks. So if you were going to look at some of the other grounds you've been to, and I don't want to be an unfair person here because you've only been with West Ham a little bit, and I don't want to stitch you up as far as telling which clubs have the worst hospitality, but what are some of the challenges and some of the challenged grounds you've been to in your time where the hospitality could be?
No, we don't have to pussyfoot around it that much. Just tell us what are the worst experiences you've had as a journalist at a ground.
I was trying to be polite.
When you're working, the worst thing that could possibly happen is that you don't have a plug socket. And
oh wow, I didn't think of that.
We get in the ground an hour and a half before the game. You're constantly writing throughout the game, and then we're in there for hour and a half afterwards as well. And so on a cold night, your computer battery could go very quickly. So actually, the first West Ham game I officially was covering for Football.London anyway was away at Stockport, and I got a message the day before from the Stockport press officer. So fair enough to them. They at least gave me warning just to say you're not going to be sat anywhere near a plug socket. And thank God for Amazon Prime, because and a friend who lives near Stockport, because I ordered a 10-meter long extension cable to be delivered to his house, and I picked it up on my way to the stadium. It made me late, actually. I only just made it in time for the team news coming in. But then once I was there, I had my 10-meter long cable, ran it through the PA system. And of course, it's a big extension lead. So you've got 4 plug sockets there. So as soon as I did it, 3 other journalists were straight on me asking if they could use it. So it was a great way for me to make friends and influence people. And actually, I did have a problem with the press conference after the game. So I got extremely lucky that the guy sat next to me, he saw that my connection wasn't good and I'd missed a load of the quotes. And so he emailed them over to me. And he was one who borrowed my plug socket. So in that kind of situation, it's tough. That will be the nightmare if you lose power. Whereas if you're at the London Stadium or Old Trafford, you get a little desk in front of your seat, and you get plug sockets, and you get all of that. And that does not happen in the older stadiums. So one which I can actually happily say, work-wise, is one of the worst. But as a fan, I absolutely loved it. It was Griffin Park. And obviously, I'd said to you guys before that I did quite a lot of work with Brentford, and I absolutely love the stadium. And of course, it's gone now, and Brentford have moved to their new spanking new stadium that I've yet to go to and can't wait. And Brentford was a brilliant atmosphere. It was great as a fan. It's got the 4 pubs on the 4 corners of the ground before you go. This is if you're not working. But then, my God, it was made for midgets. Like, you have no difference whatsoever. And if you're there in winter and you're in your big winter coats and you've got somebody next to you, people either side of you, and you're all trying to write, and it's just impossible you can't move anything. And then the press box, the seat that I had for most of last season had me sat behind a pillar, so I couldn't see one of the goals. So the amount of goals I missed last season. It's just ridiculous. So you're leaning to your left, you're leaning to right, just to try and get a view. But with every movement, you're knocking somebody else's computer or their cup of Bovril or something. So it was, Griffin Park. I love the place, but it was awful to work at.
My mate's a big Bees fan, and he said that the old place was wonderful, and he hates West Ham now. West Ham was always his second team, but he hates West Ham because he said it sounds like you're trying to pick up every one of our decent players. I mean, we're looking at Tony now, aren't we, as a possibility?
I mean, Brentford are such a well-run club, and their recruitment is just on point. So you either need to hire Brentford's recruitment staff and follow their strategy, or just buy their players once they've had a season with them and got good, like, you know, Benrahma, Watkins, or Tony next season. You know, they are, that's their ownership model. And I mean, some people don't like it, and they are quite, like football hipsterish with their stats-based way of doing things. But I think they're a brilliant club. I really do. I've got so much time for them, and they play good football. And I would love them to go up. And if they go up, then getting players like Tony out of the club are going to be much harder. But I think I've said this, I'm not sure if I said this to you guys before, or if it's just in one of the articles I've written, but Tony will be a Premier League player next season, whether it's with Brentford or not. And I wrote the exact same thing this time last year about Benrahma and Watkins, and I was surprised Mbeumo didn't. He was the one of the three who didn't get the move in the summer. And what you can just see it a mile off with their players that one way or another they're going to be in the Premier League, and one way or another Brentford are going to be in the Premier League in the next couple of seasons. They are a really good club.
Well, hopefully they'll make it this year. So obviously we want to, appreciate you coming on doing this. I don't want to take too much of your time. Do you have are there any other grounds that you give an honourable mention to of having, and like I say, we're not talking about as a fan, we're talking about solely from a journalist point of view that, well, actually, this ground stands out because of this. Are there any others that come to your mind?
What ground should be knocked down, should be levelled?
There are a couple of others, yeah. There's the team I grew up very close to, Southend United, Roots Hall is their press box is atrocious, and it is the local team, and it is a team that I supported, and I got a lot of time for them. Well, not the owners, but that's another thing. But their press box is horrendous. There used to be, so they do have an inside bit which had like this weird plexiglass rather than glass, and when the sun hits at an angle, you just can't see out of it. So if you're inside that bit, you can't watch the game because it reflects so badly off it. But if you're outside it, you're given no space at all. So Southend United, they can certainly do some work. But there's one or two non-league grounds which aren't great. But then that's the level of football that's the level where they don't have money to spend on press boxes, so you can forgive them that. But St Albans away, I remember that being quite. It all links in with the weather as well. So when it's a very open ground and the wind blows in and the rain just blows on you as you're trying to work, that's not nice.
That's brutal. We can't let you go without hearing your prediction for West Ham versus Sheffield.
I think West Ham will win it. I think Sheffield United have improved. I was doing my preview piece earlier today, actually, and they've got a decent run. They've won 3 of their last 9, I think it is, and 3 draws. I might have got that wrong. They've certainly got 3 wins fairly recently, or in all competitions, because they've won 3 in the cup. That's right. So they've won 3 in the cup and they've won 3 in the league. Because of course they beat Man United as well, and. So they're better. They're certainly better than they were earlier in the season. But I think West Ham have got it. I think Antonio will be back in the team, and he makes a huge difference. My team prediction for tomorrow is just the one change, and that will be Ogbonna because of the injury. I think he'll just go back to his league team. So it'll be 4 or 5 changes from the FA Cup side. And I think they'll just have too much for Sheffield United. So I'm going to go 2-0.
Yeah, well, I've already gone out on a limb here, and I've basically told everybody that I'm predicting with my heart, and I'm going to say 4-1 to West Ham.
Blimey, I hope so. That'd be a great game.
Yeah, well, exactly, with my heart. I mean, if I'm being realistic, I'm not going to say that much, but what the hell? You only have a season like this once every blue moon, so I'm going for it.
What did I say? 3-0?
I think you said 3-0, yeah. Yeah,
3-0 is what I'm feeling. But, I mean, I do think that this is such a big game for our season because, we're at a point where a win here puts us into 4th going into the rest of the week. And these are the games we have to win if we want to somehow qualify for Europe. Yeah,
absolutely. Like I mean, when you're in 6th place and you got a chance to go into top 4, you can't really must-win games. It's a must-win game for Sheffield United, because they're trying to avoid relegation. It's not the end of the world if West Ham are only to pick up 1 point tomorrow, but it's as close as you can get to a must-win game when there's still 15 games to go. It's a team that you should be beating, that's for sure. you can accept dropping points to Liverpool, but you don't accept dropping points to Sheffield United. And I think Moyes will have drilled that into his squad as well. As like, if we want to go places, and we do want to go places, then we win.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Tom, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast today. We really appreciate it. If you lads are out there listening, remember you can check out all of Tom's writings on Football London, the website, and there's some great intelligent writings, so different to what Adam and myself actually talk about here on the podcast.
Yeah, and also make sure you follow him on Twitter.
_ Thomas J. Clark, and it's just football.london, and that's it for the website. Just football.london.
Oh, there you go.
And check out his, he often does a little video before, middle, after the game. So, get a bit of insight. He gets to go to the game. So
middle? You said before middle? Is that an official term for a part of a game, Adam? Middle?
Well, the middle of the game.
The middle of the game, Adam?
Half time.
He always makes fun of me, Tom, for coming up with my own little ways of saying things. And so I have to jump on this with the middle of the game.
Yeah, but there's different. The things you say different are ridiculous.
Yeah, well, that was ridiculous as well, Adam. What do you reckon, Tom?
I mean, to be fair, my sister is an opera singer, so she's always asking when the interval is.
Yeah, there we go.
But then I go to her concerts and I ask when half time is, so it works both ways.
Well, thanks again, Tom. We really appreciate it, mate. You have a great day.
Yeah, thanks, Tom.
Cheers, guys. You too.
Well, that was just brilliant having Tom on here. Don't you reckon, mate?
Yeah, really, really good. What a top lad. Much appreciate you coming back.
It's brilliant. And it's nice, like with this crappy weather we have, that we've actually got somebody with a warm soul that comes on. So, I fancy a real nice hot cup of tea right now.
What do you mean you don't drink soul? Tea? I've got a warm soul, you bastard.
Yeah, like from hell.
Wow,
you don't drink tea, do you?
Be a beep, beep, beep. No,
do you drink tea?
I hate tea and coffee.
Yeah, so you don't even get to enjoy the whole excitement of dipping a biscuit in it, do you?
No, but I do. That's the only thing I used to like about tea, dipping my biscuits in other people's tea.
Oh, gosh. I remember as a kid, we used to love dipping gingers into a nice steaming hot cup of tea, but nowadays you can't do that, can you? It's called bullying.
Yeah.
So, oh, my gosh.
Anyway, probably time for social shenanigans.
I reckon it is after
Enough
that
of
one,
these
mate.
shenanigans. Let's get to some social shenanigans.
No, now it's time for
social shenanigans.
Presented by Hammers Polls.
So thanks to all our social media followers. Find the links on www.westhamiswhywedrink.podbean.com.
And then check out our favourite people Hammers Polls on Twitter. And we're gonna do some. Should we start off social shenanigans with some polls?
I think that's a brilliant idea, mate. I feel like we've been ignoring them a little bit the last couple of weeks, but we've had a lot on with the whole FA Cup excitement and stuff.
And, we've had guests and,
Yeah.
Like
we've done nice for guests, haven't we, in the last couple of weeks?
I can't wait for your world-class guest next week, Wayne.
Oh,
I'm
shut
so
up.
excited. I'm so excited. I mean, my last guest, at least, is a US, a professional football player for the United States. And so it'll be nice to see who you can come up with. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, I'll come up with somebody interesting. Don't you worry. Yeah. Even if I have to make them up. So.
I have a feeling it'll be your Uncle Harry again. I imagine Uncle Harry is what we've got to look forward to.
Depends. I mean, you put me under a lot of pressure, considering I did deliver so tremendously on the last guest, being Tom Clark from Football London.
I mean, that was not this time he didn't. He already was here and wanted to come on. So
yeah, but who took the initial lead, you plonker?
Oh my gosh! You can't continually get the credit. I mean,
yes, I can. I'm riding this for as long as I bloody well can.
All right,
mate,
here's my question from Justin. Justin Wasik. I don't know how you say your name, Justin. Sorry, mate.
Justin, he still does a lot of stuff for American Hammers TV, doesn't he?
He does. He's a good lad. He's been on my show, Hammers Shots, which the final is Wednesday. The final is Russell Budden against Robert Banks.
That's actually a really good lineup that you've got for Wednesday, mate. I got to admit, I'm pulling for Russell.
I don't mind who wins actually, but we'll see. Anyway,
okay,
here's
so what's your poll?
My poll is, with Ogbonna out for likely a few games, who comes in to replace him, Diop or Balbuena? What do you think?
That's a good question. Ah, blimey, it's a tough one, isn't it? I got to say, I actually feel more confident in Balbuena than I do Diop. I still think Diop does some things when he's not playing regular. He tends to make some slight screw ups, and so I'm going for Balbuena. I'd like to see Balbuena come in. What about you, mate?
I think I would tick the Balbuena box, but what I would say is it depends on the system that Moyes is playing. Mm-hmm. If he's playing 3 at the back with Dawson, Cresswell +1, then I would go with Diop because I think he does a better job at taking the ball out from defence into midfield.
True.
He's a bit pacier, and I think that, like you said, he can make some gaffes, and so with 3 at the back, he's got more cover. If he's playing 4 at the back with just 2 in the centre, then I would say Balbuena for sure with Dawson. So,
mate, we do not sound intelligent now that we've been listening to Tom a lot, don't we?
Oh yeah, maybe it rubbed off.
I hope so.
But the actual answer,
say?
So I've never seen this before. Over 300 people voted, and it was exactly 50% for each.
You're kidding me?
No, it was 152 votes for each person. So
that sounds appropriate though, because it's a tough one. It's a tough call for the reasons that you just explained.
Yeah. So what's your one?
Well, actually, it's interesting because I know that Tom said that he may be interested in coming back to do another spot for us, considering we've got a chance at European football next year, which might be nice if he could do that. So my question was actually from who was it by here? Oh, it was Ian from Hammers Polls actually did it. And he says, gut feeling, will West Ham secure a European spot this season? What do you reckon, mate? It's tough.
It is tough. I really want us to get it. I really want us to, but do I think we will? I don't know. You know what? I'm going to say yes. I think we can. I think, like Tom said, Man City is so dominant that 7th would probably be enough. And although I don't know for sure if we'll finish 4th or 5th, I think that we should. I think we've got what it takes to finish in the top 7. So, yeah, I think we will get European football next season.
So now here's my take on it, mate, because like similar to you, I really want us to get a European spot because I think it'd be wonderful for all the fans to, actually be able to experience that, properly as opposed to the extra goo football that we had that was garbage.
Yeah,
but I think that we've got what it takes to get there. But you know what? I don't know that we've got what it takes to sustain a European campaign right now. So I'm in two minds. I'm really thinking more about what I want rather than what I think will happen. I'll say yes. I think that we've got what it takes to make a European spot. But if we don't make that European spot, it's not the end of my world.
I hope we get it.
Oh God, it would be wonderful. I remember those road trips were just like to some absolute, excuse my language, but some absolute shitholes over in Europe with barbed wire everywhere and freaking razor wire. And the fun, it was just an absolute blast. Taking a beaten up minivan over and just like driving over. I mean, of course, that won't be the case these days. Everyone will be flying. That'd be cool.
Anyway, enough of this waxing lyrical about this bollocks. What's next?
Well, you know what? We actually had a couple of questions in our Facebook group this week. And David Harlow, who's been very active in our Facebook group, had this question for us. He says, how about who honestly thought we would be top half going into February and why are supporters still unhappy despite the best campaign of many of our lifetimes? Which I thought was a really interesting question. I, for one, didn't think we'd be top half.
No one did.
Didn't. No one. I can't think anybody.
First of all, no one honestly thought we'd be top half going into February. I
heard a lot of people saying that they thought that we'd be battling again for relegation.
I mean, why wouldn't we be? We finished the season fairly strong, but we didn't massively invest. The players that we did invest in were not they're not big time players. There are players like Dawson who we didn't give a chance to and has.
Remember everyone moaning when we signed him? Everyone like, oh, who the hell's this guy?
And we put our hands up because he has performed so well. And
incredible.
I mean, I'll be the first to say I did not expect anything from him, and he has given us way more than I could have ever hoped for.
And you know what? So, despite the campaign of many of our lifetime, people are still unhappy. Do you think it's just innate as West Ham fans that we've had so many disappointments that it's we're waiting for the bubble to burst?
No, I don't even think it's West Ham fans. I just think a lot of people are generally miserable bastards. Simple as that.
Well, I know a lot of Tottenham fans are miserable bastards now, and that gives me a lot of joy.
But they were miserable bastards when they were playing in the Champions League. And the reality is, you get thousands of people, you're going to have a percentage of miserable bastards, and they tend to be the people who are loudest because they're moaning.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a matter of every single football team has got these fans, and if only they would stay positive, love their lives, and not be so bloody miserable.
Just have a laugh for a change. Enjoy the ride.
God, some people.
He had a second part to his question as well, did David Harlow. Do you want to read that bit out?
All right, fine.
Well, don't sound too bloody excited about it, you plonker.
Well, I mean, I'm just like, I've seen a lot of posts, and also Franco Durazio, he mentioned that he was like, oh, you did a really good job, and he even showed his wife. So, Adam Frankel making your wife happy.
And he was impressed with my Italian.
Oh, yeah, was he? Yeah, he was.
Yes, he was. Yeah, there you go.
So David also said, are we truly unpleasable? And does that play a role in GSB opportunities with possible suitors?
I don't think we're unpleasable.
No, but once again, those miserable bastards, yes, they are unpleasable. They're never going to be happy. If we're winning the league, they'll be pissed off that we didn't win the league playing a certain formation or whatever. They're always going to be unhappy because it's just who they are. So find those miserable people in your life.
Cut them out.
I was going to say give them a hug.
Cut them out.
Cut them out. All right, Wayne. Well, I guess it's the end of this then. So see you later.
Cut on, mate. Oh my God, you're more positive than I am. Cut them out. Rip their hearts out.
No, give them a hug and tell them, do you know what? Being miserable is a choice. Maybe if your first thought is to complain, have a little think about it and think, man, you know what? I'm not going to complain this time. I'm going to find something positive. Maybe just try that.
Yeah, you're right, mate. You're totally right. I mean, I'm just taking a moot point opposite yours so I could sound like an evil mother.
No, that's all right. I mean, you can sound evil. You're going to sound like a rock star next week when we get this A-list celebrity on the show.
Shut up. So anyway, back to our Facebook group. I am so proud of the way everyone's just jumping in here and really just we're becoming like a bit of a family, a bit of a dysfunctional family on the Facebook group. Some great posts.
Yeah, and some not so great posts like you saying, should we get Diego Costa?
Well, you know what? Actually, let me tell you something. I got a message from somebody and they said, do you think we should get Diego Costa? So that's why I put it in there. Oh. And that's because, these people are asking this stuff. I mean, I don't want Diego Costa. Cool, blimey. No, I had my mate Blake actually said to me, do you think we could get that? How cool would that be? And I was like, I don't think it'd be that cool, to be honest. I think, well, for a start, he's on £200,000 a week right now, so we couldn't afford him. And I think he's toxic.
Yeah, we don't need someone like that in there.
So, but I mean, we've had I did that post just recently about where in England are you from or where in the States you're from. Some great people. We've got a great mix of people from both England and the United States. And I mean, just really good people.
And others. There was a guy from Thailand I saw on there as well.
Yes. In fact, he invited me to his Thailand Facebook group, but I couldn't join it because the question they have to ask to join the group is in Thai, and I don't understand it.
Yeah, that was Darren Higgins.
It was like, I have no idea. Sorry, I just put down there, I love West Ham and we run a podcast. Let me in, please.
Also, he did send me something that if you're in the UK, there's a thing called Future Learn, and they're doing a course called English Football, a Social History, which I think that might be quite fun. Anyway, if you look at Future Learn, Google it, you might find something you're interested in.
Yeah, we're just getting some great feedback from these people in Facebook, which is cool, and that actually ties a little bit into our announcement, which we shall do after the social shenanigans. Should we wrap social shenanigans then and get onto it?
Isn't this the end of social shenanigans anyway? I thought you were about to do a perfect Segway.
Yeah. Segway? A Segway? Is that one of those things that you ride?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, well then let's call it the end of it then.
Presented by Hammers Poles.
So I've just ridden my Segway over here to the side of the podcasting booth area. What was that? Wakey.
It was a video of the Tottenham game.
Oh my gosh. I'm loving watching them self-destruct. I really am. I'm having a blast with it.
Oh my
It's
God,
beautiful.
Fulham are winning 2-0.
You're joking.
No.
Oh God, I've got a mate at work. Lovely lad. His name's Josh. Real nice lad. Loves football. His son plays for FC Dallas Juniors. But he's a Tottenham fan. So it's like, I know the first thing I'm doing when I get online tomorrow is I'm going straight to my Skype and I'm going to be like, hello, Josh. Do you want to chat for 5 minutes? I'm going to have a blast with it. So, So we've got something pretty cool coming up, haven't we, mate?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't want to big it up too much in case it isn't, but we are currently, as this gets recorded, at 742 members in our group.
Mm-hmm. That's brilliant.
So,
welcome everybody.
Yeah, welcome everyone. So that I don't know what I'm saying. Oh my God, what is wrong with me? I haven't even started drinking yet. But I'm going to as soon as we get done. We're going to push for 1,000, and once we get to 1,000, we are going to come up with a little segment, a new segment, something we've not done before, that's going to involve some of you.
Oh yeah, it's exciting. We're Adam and I are still in planning with it. We've got a good nugget of a central idea as to what we're going to do. But I think both of us, and I'm sure that this will be the one time that Adam agrees with me, both of us are excited about the opportunity to do something a little bit new and different on the podcast.
And something including you guys, because
yeah,
you know, we've tried in the past to involve the listeners, and it's not come about.
It hasn't gone well, has it? Because people from Twitter just didn't seem to want to get involved, did they? No. Let's be honest.
Yeah, you're right.
But the involvement in our Facebook group is fantastic, and we just keep on doing it, lads, and ladies. I'm getting favourites on the group. I won't mention who they are, but as you can see, we're going to mention a lot more of the posts from you lads and ladies on Facebook. But it's really exciting. It's really exciting. So push to 1,000. So invite a friend, as long as they're West Ham. And have them listen to a podcast episode as well, please.
Yeah, so, have a listen and stay positive and love your lives.
And, keep on laughing and riding this West Ham roller coaster.
And obviously, please, as always, remember to rate us on Apple Podcasts or whatever you do, wherever you listen.
And a big thanks to all of our partners at Hammers Poles and Come On You Irons and American Hammers TV. So,
and we're currently on Apple. I don't want to jinx it, but we've got a 5-star rating here. So,
that's nice.
As in
that's
overall.
Nice.
So I don't know what happened to that guy. I can't see
the one
his.
that says the weird fake London accents. They're not fake. We've just been living in the States a long time.
Yeah, we appreciate it as always, and hope you enjoyed the episode. And I'm sure, like me, honestly, this was kind of I'm more excited about the next episode for this A-list celebrity. Is it likely to be someone in the world of show? I mean, I imagine it's going to be West Ham related because you give me so much crap when I get guests that aren't. So, I mean,
gosh almighty.
I guess we'll see. I'm so excited about it, though. I can't wait.
You're really building this up, aren't you, for me to fail on this one? You're going to enjoy this one, aren't you? Say cheers, Adam.
Cheers, Adam.
Cheers.